All right, I guess we're live. Hey, everyone, I'm sitting in for Kristian Harloff today. What is really going on with the Batman, y'all? Yet another delay in this part of the Pattinson Batman joining the DCU, or is there much more going on? Also, we're going to talk the breaking news that just broke a second ago that Jason Momoa is officially going to be Lobo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So that squeal he had walking out of WB clearly was for a reason, and that was with for what a lot of you guessed already was Lobo. We're also going to discuss everything going on with the Superman test screenings, and I personally have connections to that and more on today's episode of the Kristian Harloff Show. Here we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Kristian Harloff Show. I've tried to get myself in that edit, but Kristian refuses. Apparently, I've got to do a number of shows, and then I get to be put into that main show edit. So hopefully Kristian will rectify that in a little bit. But hey, everyone, welcome to the Kristian Harloff Show. We are a couple of days away from the new year. Hope you all are having a fun holiday season, and thanks for joining us today. But I am not riding into this saloon solo. I am bringing a co-host with me today, one that I absolutely enjoy and love. He is the king of swag himself. He is the swaggy blurred. He is the co-host of my Game Time Sports Show, but also blazing a trail for himself with Koi on Fridays with Capes and Cows, and also doing his own thing on his YouTube channel. It is the great Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
I'm already in the main edit.
I know you are. You and Koi. I love it. Yeah,
Undone.
Nice little Law and Order. Nice reference there. How are you, man? How was your weekend? How are things?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm kind of in like a mixed place right now because when I went home for Christmas, I went back to Texas, and my little nephew was there. He's about 10, 11 now.
Okay.
And all I know is we were all sitting playing Uno. And this little so-and-so talking about, and I was like,
oh no,
in my face. You're not even going to remotely cover your mouth.
Yeah.
And now I have something.
Oh no.
I'm pissed because I have this big New Year's Eve party and I can't be sick, man. I'm gonna fight somebody. But other than that, I'm good. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. My Commanders made the playoffs. Liverpool won again, 5-0 against West Ham. So this was a good weekend. Got to hang out with the lady who had just come back from spending 5 days with her family. And so to me, it was a very good weekend. And a lot of stuff, though, is happening. Winston, usually when you wrap up the year, there's, kind of you're struggling to find stories to talk about. But we are chock full of stuff to get into here on the Kristian Harloff Show. And just a reminder, the Streamlabs and Super Chats, Super Chats rather, are open. Send in your Super Chats here. I'm used to doing my show, for God's sakes. Send in your Super Chats. We're going to read them as we go along. And don't ding the show for me hosting. Winston A. Marshall is here, so help out on that end.
I thought you were saying ding it because of me. I was like, first of all, that's rude. I was gonna say, second of all, to quote Michael Caine, do not go quietly into that night. And then finally, man, you're welcome. Merry Christmas. That when I let you have one bonus week. So there you go.
41-7. It was tough for you all. I know. But we're here to talk about geek news, and that's what we're going to start off with. So let's jump into this a story here on Jason Momoa. Let's take a look at this one. This one is extremely shocking as we're about to start here. Jason Momoa is returning to the DC universe, but his reign as Aquaman has ended. Instead, Momoa has signed on to play anti-hero Lobo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I think a lot of us were suspecting that already. The superhero movie starring House of the Dragon actor Millie Alcock as the eponymous, oh my God, who are you trying to impress with that? Also known as Kara Zor-El, is set to be the second film in James Gunn and Peter Safran's rebooted DC universe following the highly anticipated Superman, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show here, and the reactions that have happened. Craig Gillespie is directing this film, which also features Matthias Schoenaerts as a villain Krem of the Yellow Hill, and Eve Ridley as Ruthie Mary Knoll. Anna Nogueira there, of course, wrote the screenplay based on the run of DC Comics by Tom King and Bilkis Ebeli. What else we got there, Luke? A little bit further down. Let's see what information they got on Momoa in this. But yeah, Momoa confirmed the casting news on Instagram by sharing a quote from an interview with Fandango during the press tour for Aquaman 2, where he discussed his longtime fandom of the character, an anti-hero known for his violent and irreverent personality. I'll just skip some of the stuff here. I collect comics. I mean, listen, if they call and ask me to play him, it's an F. Yeah, I haven't received that call, so I don't want to put any fake news out there. But if they ever call me and ask me to play or ask me to audition, I am there. So this is an interesting thing. It's and production set to start in the second week of January 13th, or third week, depending on how you look at the calendar here. And it is coming out on June 26th, 2026. But look, a lot of people suspected that this was going to happen, Winston, that he was going to play Lobo. It had been kind of not that hidden of a secret. There was a video he recorded himself of himself walking out of Warner Brothers, screaming with the Yahoo, saying dreams come true. And a lot of people were like, what does that mean? An Aquaman 3? No way. It's got to be Lobo. Well, now it's officially happening. So no matter what he says, it seems like he knew ahead of time. So what's your reaction to Momoa now transitioning from Aquaman into a new universe, DC Universe is Lobo? And does it work? What are your thoughts? And in Supergirl, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I've said that I think that this is, I don't know many more spot on castings. Like, this is up there with Robert Downey Jr. as, Iron Man. This is like, people would argue at this point, like Tom Holland as Peter Parker, like that, like just perfect casting. So I don't think that there's any surprise. I also think that this feels reactionary. I don't like, if I'm being real with you, I think that most studios, especially someone as brilliant as Gunn, has a few in the chamber, bro. Like, this is the ankle pistol that the detectives have, where they're just like because in the last second type thing. And I think that all of this Batman stuff dusted up so quickly, and seemed to not go well. They just kept one in the chamber just in case. Because why? What purpose does it serve on December 30th? The year is over. You could literally just be quiet until we get into past New Year's. This dropped today because it was like, we need to get them talking about something else. Pull the ripcord. This 1,000% feels like break in case of emergency, because again, he was screaming Yahoo how long ago, and how long until this movie starts filming, and all of that. This is 1,000% an emergency pull, in my opinion. And it's not a bad one. Like, I'm happy about this. Again, I think that Jason Momoa is perfect for the casting. I'm just questioning why we got this today. And then when you look at what has transpired the last 3 to 4, instead of Gunn being able to just enjoy the last week of the year post Christmas, he's like, do it, let him know. That's my opinion.
Hey, James, welcome to Running Things. That's how it goes. There's not a moment's rest. There's not a moment's rest. There's not a holiday. Don't be ridiculous. This is what it is to run the DC, run any universe, to be honest with you. And so, yes, I think this is an excellent point you're making, Winston, in that Superman, there was a lot of, obviously brought on by the Hot Mics, Jeff Snyder there making comments about what he had heard. I chimed in a little bit on our recent episode, but then comicbook.com pushed back, and which we'll get to a little bit later, on that. Hey, we talked to a bunch of people who love the screening. Then the Batman stuff getting delayed, a lot of rumors about that. So it was not a good last few days for James Gunn and the DC Universe, regardless of what people feel about it. It wasn't PR-wise. So this is an interesting point you bring up. So how do we get people? And look, we were going to lead the show with that stuff. Even we adjusted our show so that we could talk about this first. We're still going to talk about the Batman and Superman stuff, but like, this makes all the sense in the world to do it this way. You know this. You're so right, Winston. Like other studios, they know they have news in the chamber just in case. And when stuff is looking bad, they break it to distract you from other stuff that's going on in their lives. And look, Selena Gomez was getting criticized for her accent in Emilia Perez with Spanish. What happened? She got engaged 2 days later. So like, these are these things you understand. Like, people divert attention away from negativity when they're at a certain echelon of fame or a certain status in the business. They understand the PR, the importance of PR in certain moments. That being said, I think this is great. I love Jason Momoa. I think he's going to be excellent as Lobo. A lot of people have already done fan art for him as Lobo for months, maybe even a couple of years, wanting this to happen. And now that it's happening, I think it's another way to get a lot of goodwill back for James Gunn's DC universe by having Lobo or Momoa play Lobo in this way. So, and it's a relatively new character. It came out in 1983, but it quickly became a character that a lot of people
The
enjoy
main
and love.
man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no, man, dude, he's been absolutely crushing it. I would make the argument he's about as close as what you get to a Deadpool in DC as far
yeah,
as like
yeah,
goes. Just the absolute ridiculousness, can survive anything,
yeah.
just mercenary, like essentially a cosmic mercenary, and strong, like same level of won't die, but the strength, like physical strength at times to
Yeah.
match Superman. Like it's ridiculous.
Let me let me ask you this. Are you surprised that this news, like they're 2 weeks away from shooting, are you
Sure.
surprised that this news was not broken by any of the scoopers, any of the people who have connections? This is one thing that DC was kind of able to sit on and break it at their leisure when they needed to. Are you surprised by this?
I mean, the reason why I genuinely feel like this was a hold on to it type situation that just kept
Yeah.
it close to the chest, though it was not a super well kept secret, because this has been again rumored for over a
Rumor,
year
sure,
now.
for sure. Yeah.
And including to the woohoo, the whole situation of him coming out of DC about it.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those things, by the nature of them not acknowledging it and waiting till 2 weeks, because who announces casting for a major role in a movie 2 weeks before it starts filming? Again, it doesn't. So to the point where they felt like it's a not well kept secret, but it's not officially announced one way or the other. Keep it close to the chest if we need it for whatever's going on. But otherwise, you would have said this a while ago, because that would have been big news to say, not only that he had switched over to this other role, that he's going to be continuing throughout the unit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just
Yeah.
the timing just doesn't sit well. On
Yeah.
top of the fact that, again, the last week of the year is the most throwaway week for all news, unless
100%.
something crazy happens. So, like, if it was a political thing, we would be going to war to announce anything like that. If it was movies, it's something like this. A studio feels like they're in trouble, they're trying to bail out or something like that. Or a Kardashian, another one committed vehicular manslaughter, so they're just like, oh, and Courtney's getting married again. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. This is not the week to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I truly feel like this was, let's take the spotlight off of what's going on here, because Gunn tried to put the fire out. We're going to talk about it in a second with what's going on with the Batman movies, and people didn't really buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And that's what it seems like too. So, but I this is fascinating to me. They're going to start shooting 2 weeks. How big of a role do you think Lobo is going to have? Because clearly he's not the main villain or antagonist, but do you think it's going to be like a bit of a cameo, like a couple of scenes just to officially introduce him into the DCU? Or do you think he's going to be near the end of the movie, maybe coming in for whatever reason, and her next adventure will be maybe confronting Lobo?
I have a feeling that Jason will probably be around. I mean, it's hard to tell, just because we really don't know if they're going to fully pull from a comic story, just use inspiration by, if they're doing a whole new adventure, like what specifically they're doing.
Yeah.
Because then that in and of itself will kind of determine whether or not Lobo is around. Like, we're going to see apparently Millie like a little bit in Superman.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's something that gets opened up where Jason shows up in a post credit, like from the idea, maybe there's some alien on the run or something like that. Or maybe he's not the main villain, but maybe something happens where, because of something that happens with Superman, or we just see Millie maybe in a post credit, maybe she's on the run from Lobo. Who knows? We really don't know yet, and it's kind of hard to speculate. But I guarantee that Lobo will be a big part of the universe. There's no way you put an A-lister like Momoa and a character that people have been kind of like clamoring for a little bit, to see a live adaptation of that. He just kind of appears for a cameo. Like, I think Lobo is going to be a major part of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the history of the comics. He's been in Justice League, he's been in Legion, he's been in Young Justice, he's been in Suicide Squad. And speaking of Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, I mean, Jason Momoa appeared as Aquaman at the end of season 1 of Peacemaker. James Gunn said Peacemaker is canon for the most part, but he's going to explain how Aquaman and Flash showed up there at the end. So, going to be real curious now that Momoa is Lobo in this Gunn DC universe, how he's going to explain him being Aquaman in that with Peacemaker, if Peacemaker is DC canon now. So I'm real curious to see how that plays out. All right. Well, that's our story there. Send in your super chats. Let us know what you thought about all this and what your feelings are about Momoa. You know, what are we trying to break, Winston? You and I together? Should we try to break 200? Is that possible? I'm just throwing it up.
200.
I know.
My God. Let's get to what was it that you
Yeah, we only have 16. We got to get to 100, buddy. We got to get to 100.
To at least let's start with 50. Let's say 50 at minimum.
All right.
And then we can move from there. 200. Look, man, sir. Okay, I was already like trying to just focus on my life today, and I get the phone call. You needed it, but they pulled the emergency ripcord for me. Yeah. Okay, I'm the Lobo in this situation. God damn it! Like, give me a break.
Yeah, we needed you. That's 100% for sure. 100% for sure. I'm just saying, people flush with Christmas money. Come on, y'all. All right, let's
literally the exact opposite. It's literally I just spent all my motherfucking money on Christmas. Excuse my language. I forgot who can't swear on here. I spent all my damn Christmas money buying these ungrateful kids presents, and they cough openly in my mouth.
Wow. All right, well, let's move on to the next story here. We'll see what's going on with Lobo in the future here, but let's deal with the films that are in the future as well, but delayed here, and that's the Batman. Two major live-action Batman films currently in the works at Warner Brothers have been delayed, right? Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 has been delayed, this time pushed back a full year from October of 2026 to October of 2027. And this sequel was announced back in 2022. So we've been waiting 5 years just for production, or we're going to be having to wait 5 years until we see this. At this point, we don't know if there might be more delays. Who knows at this point? Reeves is said to be working hard to perfect the script. It now is reportedly targeting filming in the third quarter of 2025 and is also potentially dropping its current Part 2 title. That's interesting. Will there be what will be the new title if they do drop the Part 2 title? And James Gunn responded to the delay saying Matt is committed to making the best film he possibly can, and no one can accurately guess exactly how long the script will take to write. Really? We'll stop announcing release dates. Once there is a finished script, there is a around 2 years of pre-production, shooting, and post-production on big films. That's not the only film, though, that got an update. Filmmaker Andy Muschetti appeared on the Spanish podcast California Secreta and said the Batman Brave and the Bold movie has been delayed as well. The film was never locked in for a date, but now it seems it will be further back than anticipated. He indicates that he may make another film before he goes to work on the DCU's new Batman. I'm now writing a science fiction movie that I would like to do. Batman is a project that's been postponed a bit, so there could be another film before it, possibly that one. We've also got comments here on all of this from James Gunn here. If we move a little bit further down there, look at, we got the background on all of this. So let's keep going down a little further here and look at the comments here from James Gunn. We had to say about all of this. He said, last year, got confirmation Muschetti had been enlisted to do Batman, the Brave and the Bold. He said, we saw the Flash even before taking the reins at DC Studios and knew we were in the hands of not only a visionary director, but a massive DC fan. It's a magnificent film, funny, emotional, and thrilling is what Pete Gunn and Peter Safran said about The Flash at the time. And Andy's affinity, passion for these characters in this world just resonates through every frame. Ironically, Muschetti having already directed a Batman in Michael Keaton in The Flash. So they said when it came time to find a director for Brave and the Bold, there was really only one choice. Luckily, Andy said yes. Barbara signed on to produce with us, and we were on our way. Now, let's take a look at the comments from James Gunn, who talked about the delay for the Batman Part 2 and what he had to say about the 5-year thing. He said, to be fair, a 5-year gap or more is fairly common in sequels. 7 years between Alien and Aliens, 14 years between Incredibles, 7 years between the first two Terminators, 13 years between Avatars, 36 years between Top Guns. That's stretching it. And of course, 6 years between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Volume 3, which he conveniently left out. It's because his tweets came up and they fired him off the film and then brought him back later on. That's part of why it was delayed. But to wrap this all up, because Winston, me and Jeff and people on other shows, I'm sure you guys at Capers and Cows were considering whether Robert Pattinson, whether this meant that Robert Pattinson would be the Batman. Well, now we have news that came here from comicbookmovie.com. The Batman, there were reportedly no plans to make Robert Pattinson the DCU's Dark Knight, despite a 2027 delay here. They said, despite DC Studios co-head James Gunn talking to social media to state that the delay was simply down to the fact the script hasn't been finished, speculation mounted that some recent rumors relating to Gunn wanting to bring star Robert Pattinson in the DCU's Dark Knight might be the real reason. On last week's episode of the Hot Mic Right, Jeff Snyder shared some of the things he heard about Batman's situation. He believes that Gunn does indeed want Pattinson in the DCU, but Reeves is resistant to the idea. Whether there is any truth to this or not, Daniel Rickman, Daniel RPK there on Twitter or X, has heard that for now there are still, quote, no plans to make Pattinson the DCU's Batman. So that's a lot of stuff, man. That's a lot of stuff. I know I went on and on, but I wanted to give a full rundown of what's going on with these Batman. So Winston A. Marshall, you are the co-host of Capes and Cowls. So we certainly talk about nerdy, geeky stuff all the time and superhero stuff. So I value your opinion on this. What are your thoughts on all of this? And do you believe Daniel RPK's report that Pattinson is not in the works to become the DCU's Batman? Well, to James Gunn.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an interesting theory on there. I mean, the first thing that we should address is Gunn's excuse of look at all these other things that had these that
was lame.
What that feels like, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Do you remember those times when you were younger, Rocha, and like you would have an adult, you'd have like an uncle and aunt, your parents, they would say something to you, but you're like, do you think I'm a toddler? I can do math and I know things. Like if this isn't, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel, again, hence the Lobo announcement today. Yeah. But I feel like that was his way of trying to smooth that over and people going, bro.
Yeah.
Top Gun didn't have a sequel because there was no plan to have a sequel until everybody got on this nostalgia trip. So then 36 years later, Tom was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what we can come up with and then what interesting story we could tell. Right. Same thing. There was no plan for Aliens. There's no plan for Terminator. Avatar, that one's fine because James Cameron wanted to go explore the deep blue sea before Ocean Gate went out there and acted real stupid, and he was developing more technology. So like it was none of that made logical sense.
Right.
I think that the theory that someone said, and this would be very sad if that's the case, but there might be something personal going on right now with Reeves, and that's what's slowing down this script getting finished. So if they're just not ready to do it, they're just not ready to do it. And the one thing Gunn said, even though this was pertaining to the DCU, but I'm sure he means that about all things that are now under this DC Studios umbrella, until the script is good and we feel good about it and we get a script block, we're not moving forward. I think that this is a situation where Matt is just not quite done yet, which is a little crazy just from the standpoint of, like you've had time, bro. Like this movie came out in what, 2021?
2022. Yeah.
It came out in 22. So it's only been 2 years. Okay. Yeah. But either way, you had already had a plan and you had signed a 3-movie deal. So you had a basic understanding of what you wanted to do already. Yeah. So it feels like like whatever's going on one way or the other. Maybe there were major shifts once Gunn came in. I don't know, but it just it feels like something else is going on here. We talked about this on Capes. I still don't want Pattinson personally as the DCU Batman because I keep my peanut butter and chocolate separate. I don't like Reese's. Otherwise, if he does, he's a good actor. It's fine. I just think the tones are just very different.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the delays, though? What do you think about the Brave and Bold? Do you think Muschetti? See, I've been saying through sources I have that Muschetti had been moved off this film and that they're finding the right moment to announce it. But Jeff said on a hot mic that according to him during our show, someone texted him from his connections at DC saying that Muschetti's still going to direct this film. We've got a Clayface movie that is supposedly being worked on. We just saw Clayface essentially being introduced in DC canon with Creature Commandos. So what are your thoughts on all of this? Are we still going to get the DCU Batman through Brave and the Bold?
I think this is exactly why you don't announce as much stuff as you do. Yep. Like this seems like this has been a continuous mistake on the part of these studios running superhero content.
Yeah.
Of announcing, all of the projects going forward, or even giving them dates, unless you're genuinely getting to the point where you're going to get ready to go.
Yeah.
You can announce these are the projects we're looking to make if you really want to, but 0 dates. And this will be this year. And this will be like that is the problem with having the shareholders, let them be the ones dictating how this goes, because obviously Gunn understands, and I think most of them understand that all of this stuff takes so many moving pieces.
Yeah.
Like, to make those announcements, you're setting yourself up for failure. And so I just think it's one of those things where Muschetti will probably still direct it. There's no reason to lie about that, unless, though, the funny thing is if something does go sideways, it's going to look like you were lying later if you do have to pull him.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably still doing it. And I think that they just need to slow everything down. So focus on getting Superman out. Focus on getting Superwoman, Supergirl. Is it Super? They're doing Supergirl or Superwoman?
Supergirl.
That's what I thought. Okay, so get Supergirl. I wasn't sure if they changed the title.
It's Supergirl,
Woman of Tomorrow. That's there. It is.
Yeah.
Focus on getting Supergirl off the ground. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? And then just and you obviously had to talk to people. You've made it very clear that you're answering these questions and addressing them, but just keep it pushing that way. And just stop announcing stuff until you're like, Supergirl has started filming, Supergirl is wrapped,
right?
Script locked on Batman Brave and the Bold. They start filming in 3 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just leave it and stuff
100%.
like that from now on, and let's not tease anything else because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot before you even start the race.
Also, James Gunn, stay off social media. I don't know how many more examples. This is a law of diminishing returns. Yes, you're successful in one way that you're debunking, quote unquote, debunking some of these things. But later on, when you say one thing and then you misstep, or you make that years comment, which I tweeted about, like, don't give me that. I was like, there's a 2-year gap between the Godfathers. There's a 2-year gap between the Spider-Mans. There's a 3-year gap between the Star Treks, the Star Wars, the Captain Americas, the Indiana Jones, the Rocky movies, the Creed movies. Even Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes movies only had a 3-year gap. Batman, there's so many examples to discount what he said. It was such a tweet that, like you said, that talked down to us. That bothers me about James a little bit. He's got a little bit of that kind of like, don't mess with me. I know what I'm doing. And the thing is, you're in charge, buddy. You can't have that attitude because it causes people to want to come after you. So we'll see down the road, Winston. I think you're right. Slow down. We'll see. Let's see how Superman is and then go from there. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about Superman in a little bit. But first, we got to hear from Kristian Harlow. Oh, wait. First, let us know what you think about all of it as you send in your super chats, send in your love, send in everything that you got. What are your comments on all this? What are your thoughts on the Batman stuff? What are your thoughts on the Lobo stuff? Send in your super chats. We're at 23 right now. We want to get to 50, maybe get to honey by the time we're done. But before we do that, we got Kristian Harlow here to talk about Rocket Money.
I've told you about Rocket Money, guys, and the reason why for Rocket Money was so important is that I for a long time I used to do these things where I'd be on my phone and I'd start searching for these apps. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign up. Oh, for free? Yeah, it's free for now, but then it's going to be $20, $30 a month, and you forgot that you're even paying it. And I was like, oh, well, this Rocket Money lets you know about what subscriptions that you have that you're not paying attention to. It can cancel subscriptions for you. It really is amazing, and it just cuts so much time out of my schedule, and I love it because you don't even know how much you're paying in subscriptions, and you're probably paying way more than you think, because over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about, and I definitely did that. I can tell you that right now. Like, there was a couple. I'm telling you, some of these apps. I tried some of these apps and I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot all about it. You think you spend around $62 per month on subscription, something like that, but it's close to about $300. It goes about $300 a month, because Rocket Money is also, it's a personal finance app, and it cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors all of your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Everyone that's using it, 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Wow. It saves about $740 a year. It's great. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You just cancel your unwanted subscriptions. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing, rocketmoney.com/thing. Very easy. rocketmoney.com.
All right, there you go. Rocket Money. I've been using Rocket Money. It is a lifesaver. Honestly, you had no idea about all this stuff. And once you put it, you think you're on top of things. And once you put it through, you're like, oh, I had no idea about that. I forgot about that. Oh my God, that was years ago. How was that still on there? So definitely use Rocket Money. Look, we're going into a new year. A lot of you guys are really focused on getting your finances in order and getting on top of your money a little bit more. Rocket Money is going to help you do that. So go ahead and sign up. Use the code. Give some love to the show by using the code there on Rocket Money. Shout out to them. By the way, I want to bring up one comment here real quick, just to help a person out here. I can't even bring it up. Will you bring up this Mr. B comment, Luke, if you can? He said Reeves joined Planet of the Apes franchise in 2011 and delivered his movie in 2024. Sometimes, guys, I wonder why you chime in. First of all, Matt Reeves' movie came out in 2014, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Then his movie came out in 2017. He was not the director of the first film. But know your directors, know their movies, know their time gaps if you're going to chime in knowledgeably about this stuff like you know it. I just wanted to make that clear. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Superman story here, Winston. We got to get some thoughts on this as if this James Gunn thing isn't over yet. So the buzz here for Superman is an interesting conversation that happened over the last few days. The first trailer for Superman received widespread praise for sure. I certainly loved the trailer. I did a great trailer reaction for it. Great in terms of how much I loved it. And but on the hot mic, of course, recently over the last couple of weeks, Snyder and I shared what we've heard about recent test screenings. And it's not great. For context, you may recall that on December 6th, the Hollywood Reporter even chimed in on this test screening. And this is what they said in their article. We've heard from multiple sources about one screening in particular on the lot, and with his close-knit crew of people he trusts, we're keeping the buzz about the movie itself in our own fortress of solitude. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But we can tell you that the movie will be doing a few days of additional shooting in Los Angeles in the near term. But Snyder claimed on our Hot Mic show that, quote, he knew multiple people who had seen Superman. The buzz is not good. I'm hearing bad things. I'm hearing you should be worried things. It sounds like James Gunn is aware of some of the feedback. Now, James Gunn did say that some of those the shoots here were not are pickup shots, no scenes, no reshoots. However, another source in the editing the world told the reporter that there are, quote, plenty of reasons to be nervous. And of course, I chimed in with what I had gotten from my source, who told me that someone who'd seen Superman told me it was the tone of the first Captain America movie and the Mummy films. They said Nicholas Hoult is the standout, and the film is decent, but a large chunk of the film was unfinished, with only a third of the film's VFX being done. It has the least amount of humor of any Gunn film, but there is still humor throughout. Most people will be satisfied with the movie, and it should be received well enough to continue Gunn's DCU. So just when you're thinking this is the feeling about the screening, comicbookmovie.com chimed in with people who've had positive things to say about the recent Superman screening. Let's take a look at this. Let's see, Rocha, let's move past that to the bottom half here. We said, right, we've now heard from a well-placed source who has spoken to people who have seen the movie Superman, and their feedback was a lot more positive. Apparently, Superman was described as Guardians of the Galaxy level good, and while some of the VFX was unfinished, quote, a lot of the shots were polished enough with 7 months to go before release. Those in attendance that shared their opinions reportedly, quote, loved the movie. Keep in mind, these are people who are very close to James Gunn, so how honest are they really being? It's a good question to ask. It's worth keeping in mind, though, that both of these things can be true. It's highly unlikely that everyone who saw Superman at the screening felt exactly the same way about it. It's also important to note that plenty of much-loved films received negative responses from early screenings and vice versa. At the end of the day, we won't know what to expect until we're sitting in the theater next July. And then let's leave it at that. So, Winston A., what are your thoughts when you hear these sources saying that, on one side, that there were some issues and people should be nervous, and on the other side, a lot of people really enjoyed the movie and it was Guardians of the Galaxy level good. So what's your feeling here?
Did you just have a full Mitch McConnell like reboot freeze? Like what?
No, oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. I don't trust screenings, honestly. Like there is
screenings. How can you say you don't trust screenings? We go
no, but those are different. Those are screenings where that's finished product. That's finished product. I don't trust these mid screen because the point of these is to find problems. The literal point of early screenings is to find problems, in the same way that, like,
it's a good point.
I literally hit up Kristian back and forth before we end up being like, hey, yo, I got this joke, man. Like, what do you think about this? And then he'll be like, I love the concept. I don't love this particular moment. Maybe reword this. That's the point. That is what this is meant to do. Is it's meant to find issues.
Yeah.
So this idea of, ooh, the screening was bad. Oh, like, okay. Like, I don't care, because we are still in the process. This isn't, our movie is complete. Here, I'm serving it to you. That was trash. That was cool. My first draft of my paper is done. What do you think?
Yeah.
Ooh, go back and fix this paragraph. That paragraph doesn't work. Nobody gets anything right on the first time. If that was the like, it happens, but it does not happen all the time.
Right.
Those tend to be rare examples that people get it right the very first time. So anybody making a big hubbubaloo about it, no offense to you and Steiner, because I know the hot mic is about breaking them scoops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
that's all it is. But it's not one, in my opinion.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well, it's not. We're not trying to take down the DC universe. Yeah, and I think some people have mixed the two. Like, well, if you say something negative or you've heard something negative, then you are trying to destroy this thing. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You know, Jeff is a journalist. Whatever your feelings are about Jeff, and yes, I am the first one to call out Jeff when he gets foolish on social media. I'm talking about the Royal, not you, Winston.
Of course.
Whatever his feelings are, like when he's a fool on social media, I call him out. Sometimes I call him out on the show. So you guys know I monitor him in that way. So, but he is a journalist. He takes lunches and dinners with executives from studios, with assistants to very important people, with agents, with actors. He is not just sitting around concocting stuff out of thin air. Okay. He actually legitimately has worked in that town for decades, has sources, well-placed sources. He reaches out to young people who are up and coming because he knows how to work the sources, makes connections with them, helps them out. If you're starting a new blog or podcast or website that tackles the industry, Jeff has helped many young people get involved in talking about the industry. So I think sometimes people go after him because, yes, he can be quite stupid on Twitter sometimes with some of his stuff. I don't disagree with you. But his journalism degree is, I think, untouchable.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean he's always right, but he's just reporting stuff, right? And so, yeah.
Let me just clarify in case Jeff has seen this. I'm not coming for you at all.
No, I know you're.
That's not what this is. I'm just saying, as far as any reports of a screening of a movie was bad. I mean, like an example of this, Rocha.
Yeah.
I knew somebody who was working for whatever production company, studio, or whatnot, where they saw the pilot and like the first few episodes of Abbott, and they said the pilot is fantastic, but the show is going to fail. The rest of it just does not find its legs. That person could not have been more wrong. Right. And that's my point, is that maybe at the time when they saw it, there were things they needed to tweak about that one way or the other. Right. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying, is like, until you actually see what is turned in as the final product. Like, God, to take it to sports for 30 seconds. What did Jerry Jones's dumbass say all offseason? We're all in. This is it. We're fine. This is the Super Bowl team. And then what happened? 2 games in, we got to know exactly who the Cowboys were. So until you see what the final product is of something, I just don't think. And again, I will trust a critic screening. You can still take it with a grain of salt because you don't always agree with critics, but I would take a critic screening because that is what is going out in a week, 2 weeks, versus we are 7 months out. I would actually hope that someone going to a screening like this would be like, I liked it for these things. I got issues here, and here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because then I know that they're actually being honest with you and they care to try and make it a better movie.
Right. And that's what you want. That's what you want your friends to do, to be like, look, put aside our friendship. Look at it as a person who is in this business, who works in a particular field. Tell me what's working, what isn't working. Give me specific notes and blah, blah, blah. So I imagine that is where this screening was coming from. Okay, we're 7 months away. This is the finished product right now. What do we need to do? The Hollywood history is littered with press screenings changing endings, changing storylines, adding scenes to save movies. It's all through it. You know, you see that. Dailies do that as well. So there are situations here where you can correct a film and whatever. And all Jeff was doing was reporting, right? And people have concocted this rivalry or anger towards James Gunn from both of us, which is madness. I have never seen James Gunn direct a bad movie. I've liked all of James Gunn's movies. I'm liking Creature Commandos rather. So this idea that there's a grudge because we're reporting this stuff that's happening, I just don't understand that kind of logic, to be honest with you. So you're probably right. This is a screening that he did to get information, to get knowledge. What can I do better? What can I fix? Because I think the last thing you're going to do is screen something 7 months before it's released and just let it sit there. That's not really the way you do movies. So you're absolutely right. I'm sure this was a screening to find out what the issues were, fix them. So there clearly might be issues with the movie, which is what was being reported, but those issues, and Jeff said this on the show, like Star Wars, those issues, there's still 7 months to fix it, and he has full faith that James Gunn will. So I think that's what you see at the end of the day. So yes, I think we're right to report this stuff. I think the fans have to do a better job of looking at it with a bit of a more of a nuanced eye and less of a, oh, they're trying to take down James Gunn type of approach. So,
but I'm not going to put that all on the fans. That's the society we live in.
That's
not just about movies and TV shows. That's across the board. Like you see one little snippet of anything because people just want to tease something that's coming, and it's automatically World War III of this is the greatest thing that ever happened. This is the worst thing that ever happened. That's just like where we live now, sadly.
100%.
So I think
so true.
The main thing we have to do, knowing that is what society has now cultivated, is to just steal your own heart on that whole situation and take everything with a grain of salt. So you're like, okay, that's information to know, and try to figure out how to suss that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I think this is different than any other situation he's been in, right? Because in the past, he's directed movies. He hasn't been running a studio at the same time that he's directing a movie, and he hasn't directed a movie while running a studio that's going to be the foundational piece of his universe, right? That's massive. So I think there's a lot of other outside factors that are getting involved here. And so I'm going to be curious to see what the end result's going to be. And we have 7 months to go until we see it. But if they push it, Winston, then at that point, you might start to have questions. And
that's the only thing. If you get pushed off the date, I think that's the only major piece of news. That apart from something way more drastic than that. But if you push off of your release date, that says a little something. It could mean not as much, but considering you have actively decided to kind of headbutt against Fantastic Four, that's why that would be such a big deal.
And I take Anthony Cheeseman's point saying Kevin Feige didn't run a studio until he ran a studio. That's true, but Kevin Feige didn't come in already with the expectations of running an entire universe. It was, let's see how Hulk does. Let's see how Iron Man does. We may have plans for more.
Iron Man.
Let's see. He wasn't announcing Iron Man. He wasn't announcing like we've got 10 shows coming in, animated shows and all. Like it's a different situation. You know, it's taken over a team that's already been built as opposed to coaching your first year of the NFL's existence. There's a difference.
Well, it's the hard part is well, first of all, before I piggyback off of that, you lived in DC for a while, right?
26 years. Yes.
Did you also live in Baltimore? Because that was the most man. Like,
no, I just love the Wire.
Like I know you've seen
the
that.
Wire. You know, that's why I get my Baltimore accent. Police.
But yeah, I think like you said, it reminds me of LeBron. People know I love to pull my sports. LeBron going to Miami. How many titles? Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Like if you start claiming your victories, and I think that was the thing. You did bring Gunn and Safran in to start this universe and do it the right way, since it did not work with the DCEU.
Right.
So there's already going to be expectations. So like when Tom Brady goes to the Bucks, there's going to be expectations. You're the GOAT. Like, what are you going to do? Eddie actually put out a championship his first year. So who knows? Like Superman could be the same type of thing, but there's just high expectations. That's why this is happening, let alone there's a lot of people that deeply love these characters. The argument could be made that like DC honestly was the stronger of the two once these movies started popping off, just because of Batman and things. And not that Spider-Man isn't a big deal, not that the X-Men aren't a big deal.
Right.
But if you look at the MCU, it was kind of started with quote unquote, arguably B-listers in people's minds. Not as far as Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man in the lore of Marvel, but as far as the hierarchy of popularity, DC has a tendency to be, and like people lean into that. They watch the Justice League cartoon growing up, or they watch, Reeves Superman back in the day. Mm-hmm. That's where their heart lies. So people really want it to be done right. And when you also throw in the fact that there are people that still cape for, no pun intended, for the DCEU and what Snyder was building and stuff that, it's always going to be a little bit of a clusterfuck until you kind of get it settled. Right. And so again, I think it'll be fine. We don't have hard anything to say, no, this is bad, like we're out. So until then, it doesn't mean we don't talk about it. It doesn't mean we don't speculate and what could this possibly mean. That's literally the point of this, so that people in the comments can debate it and we can talk about it. But I am not going to stress myself out on December 30th, 2024. There has already been enough BS this year. Just let me get to New Year's and move on, man.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's move on to some other news. And we're at almost 30 comments here. So send in your comments, ladies and gentlemen. Send in your super chats. We got so much stuff to go into. All right, so let's move on to the box office. The post-Christmas box office has continued to be a neck-and-neck race between Sonic the Hedgehog and Disney's Mufasa, the Lion King, with both likely to score some sort of victory. The third Sonic film won Friday with $12.6 million to Mufasa's $12.1 million, with the Blue Blur set to likely win the three-day weekend with $38 million, down just 38% from its debut over Mufasa with $37 million, which is the film has bounced back up a very impressive 4% from its soft debut. However, the Lion is said to be king of the 5-day Wednesday through Sunday weekend, with the haul expected to be at about $63.7 million compared to Sonic's $59.9 million. As of end of Sunday, Sonic will be at $137.6 million domestically, while Mufasa will be at $111.4 million. And in third was Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which was a massive surprise for a lot of people, with the title set to earn $21.1 million for the 3-day weekend and around $40 million for the 5-day weekend. It's the fourth best opening for a Focus Features title and Eggers' best opening to date. The fourth, coming in fourth, is still Wicked, still hanging in there. Wicked with $19.4 million for the 3-day and $31.7 million for the 5-day weekend. The film surpassed Mamma Mia globally this weekend to become the #1 stage musical adaptation at the global box office with $634.4 million. And Moana rounded out the top 5 with an $18.3 million for the 3-day and $28.3 million for the 5-day. And they're at like almost 800 or just over 800 million in Moana worldwide, which is pretty impressive. Sixth place goes to a complete unknown, really good biopic, in my opinion, about Bob Dylan, scoring the best opening for Searchlights since the pandemic, with $11.6 million for the 3-day and $23 million for the 5-day. And then seventh was Baby Girl, and then The Fire Inside, which is, I think, the Brian Tyree Henry movie. So what are your thoughts on this box office here? Mufasa bouncing back. You thought he was dead. You thought he'd throw him off the cliff. No, Mufasa came bouncing back against Sonic 3. What are your thoughts on the box office overall, brother?
As you can see, I am not dead. I did not yield. That's really what that is. And to be honest with you, I guess I'm part of, I don't know if we're going to call it a problem or what. Like, what did you think of Mufasa? I'm curious.
Mufasa was not that good. It was watchable, but I thought the animation was interesting, but I just didn't find it to be that good of a movie. And I haven't seen Sonic 3, so don't ask me about that one. So.
You haven't seen Sonic 3?
I haven't, because I haven't seen Sonic 2, so I got to watch Sonic 2, and then I'll go
haven't seen
Sonic
2?
I don't know if you know this, but there have been holidays going on and demands on
Sonic
my time.
2 has been out for over a year.
Well, Sonic 2, fair. I should have probably gotten around to that.
It's been on streaming, my guy. I had enough time to think Sonic was dead because Knuckles came out, and that was trash.
I tell you, so Luke is shaking his head at me right now with his arms folded. I know.
I'm sure he is. But no, Sonic 3 is fantastic. I think I personally, I have
the best.
I think it probably goes 1, 3, 2, and that's not a knock on 2. I just think that they did something really special with the first one.
Yeah,
I had Act 1 problems with Sonic 3. I won't obviously get into it because it's not a review of the movie, but once we got on the adventure, movie's fantastic.
Okay.
Mufasa, my thing was I didn't necessarily love the new songs, which hurt it. There are definitely things about it that I liked, but so I'm a little surprised at this, but I'm also not. Like, I went with my family on Christmas. Like, that's the whole thing, is you got to kind of get the bookend around on it, because it came out on the 20th.
Right.
So now that it's actually Christmas Day, what are people going to see? And if you already took the kids to go see Sonic, you're not necessarily going to take them to go see it again. You would be like, oh, there's another family movie. Let's go see Mufasa. See what happens. You know what I'm saying? So you're not taking the kids to Nosferatu. I'm going to tell you that much. So like, you ain't taking the Baby Girl. You're not going to do that. And, and if you're like any other parent, you're like, I've seen enough Wicked. We've gone 3 times. Like not me. I've been the one time, which is a great movie, but I don't need to see it again. I'll wait for part 2.
Right.
So why not go check something else out? And so it makes logical sense to me. I don't think Mufasa was so bad that had no shot in hell. I think that some of the actual themes and character development throughout it was good, but there's just enough issues with the songs. I still don't love their live animal animation. It's better than The Lion King, but it's still kind of weird. So I am not surprised. With the first one with the bad animation making $1 billion, I'm not surprised that it'd have some sort of comeback because it's a Disney movie and you'd go take the kids and the family. But what about you?
Well, Mufasa's at 327 million worldwide, and it came out 10 days ago. And Sonic is at 211 worldwide, and that came out around the same time. So it seems like Mufasa is having a stronger footprint internationally than Sonic, and that may carry the day overall, because a lot of people thought Sonic came out the gate, and no pun intended, really quickly over Mufasa, that it would win. But right now Mufasa has been catching up, and so it could win the battle between themselves and Sonic, but it doesn't necessarily mean it'll cross $1 billion. So I think this is going to be interesting. I mean, there's not much coming out in January that's going to challenge it. So maybe people will come to see and give it legs for Mufasa and get it across $1 billion. I just would be surprised if that happens.
It's not going to cross $1 billion. I don't see that.
I don't know.
I think it maybe caps out at around 600 at most, because it's at 300 something. At most, it's hitting 6. I'm going to guess probably 475.
Okay.
I think we have fully slowed down, because once we turn the year, I don't see people like, let me go rush to see Mufasa. Like that's
right. And Wicked's at 634 million worldwide, which I think is amazing.
So wait, Wicked's at 634. Yeah, Mufasa ain't even coming close to touching 6. I take it back, bro. Then Mufasa is capping out at 475.
Moana 2 is almost at 900 million. They're 18 million away from 900 million worldwide. That is amazing, considering that film is okay and not great. Certainly, I enjoyed it. It was watchable, but it's not great. So, pretty amazing stuff. So we will see.
I just got a text from my insider who, it's not as much of a scoop, but they've been was supposed to say that Sonic apparently has not hit a lot of international markets yet. So it's primarily still domestic right now.
Okay. So we'll see.
Never know what happened with Sonic.
It's a good excuse. All right, let's move on to the next story here, man. And keep the super chats coming, y'all. We're at 32. Would love to get to 50, maybe even 100 by the end of the show. So send them in, send in your questions, thoughts, and comments. We know Kristian isn't here, but I think Winston and I can do some Kristian imitations if you want, answering your questions if you need it. So, we can do that. But yeah, what's the next story here? All right, so this is an interesting story, I think, Winston. Both of us cover television, talk about television here, but there's a trend apparently that over the past year appears to be coming to an end. Multiple returning series seeing their episode orders shrink, particularly shows coming back for second seasons. According to Deadline, the reasoning has been chalked up to several factors, most notably last year's strikes impacting production schedules. For some, it's the tighter budgets, streaming services having resulted in a choice to cut episode count rather than skimp on production value. For others, it has been a creative choice to do so. Either way, it seems this recent trend may be coming to an end. House of the Dragon was one of the earliest of the recent surge in shorter episode orders. The series dropped from 10 episodes to 8 episodes for their second season for both creative and economic reasons. And the upcoming second run of The Last of Us will shrink from 9 to 7 episodes, which I'm super upset about. But that is due to its hitting a, quote, natural break point in the story, according to showrunner Craig Mazin, who tells the outlet the show's third season is designed to, quote, be significantly larger. But other series have been impacted by this as well. Netflix saw multiple series like The Diplomat and The Recruit both dropped from 8 to 6 episodes in their sophomore runs, but those largely thought to be due to the strikes, while Beef sees its count drop from 10 to 8. Diplomat series creator Deborah Kahn already indicated a few months ago the plan is very much to go back to 8 episodes for the third season, which has been in production for a while. Squid Game fell from 10 to 7 episodes, though that was due to a creative choice, resulting in the creation of a third season, which has already been shot and will be released in summer/fall of 2025. And the upcoming live action One Piece, which I know Kristian has done some great reactions here on the channel for One Piece. The second season will see its episode count drop from one episode from 8 to 7, but that is said due to be storytelling as well. Not all, though, of the sophomore seasons have been victims to this trend. Severance seasons count go up from 9 to 10 for the second season, and other series are matching their first season counts, including Andor, Silo, Wednesday, Peacemaker, The Night Agent, and Gen V. The episode counts for the second seasons of shows like Poker Face, which just wrapped, according to Natasha Lyonne. Monarch, Legacy, Monsters, and Hijack are unknown at this time. So, Winston, what are your thoughts on this? This is a good sign. It feels like the industry is maybe bouncing back. More episode orders certainly coming through for these future seasons. What are your thoughts here?
I think two things have to stop. I think A, the shorter season count, and I think B, you got to stop this idea of waiting years.
Oh yeah.
That is, in my opinion, unacceptable. I in a world where Stranger Things has been wrapped, it is in my Rushmore of TV shows. But just by the nature of how much it's been spaced out, it has not been able to keep an emotional wedge to have that count. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't. It's almost like this scenario of you kind of need what it feels like. Rocha, have you ever been in an on again, off again relationship for years?
Not years, but certainly for a year and a half. I had a pretty insane relationship that was off and on for that time. Yes.
I had a college girlfriend who we got together junior year. I left for Japan, so we broke up. I got back from Japan, and then we got back together. Then we broke up once I graduated, and then we got back together again. It was just on and again, off again for 5 years.
Right.
And by the time it was said and done, it was so jumbled, and over a period of time, it was like, you know what, and good or bad. And so it's kind of the weird thing here with, like, say a Stranger Things is the best example because they are the most egregious with it.
Yeah.
You throw in the fact that this is supposed to be about kids.
Yeah.
Millie is married now.
True.
Like, I'm not going to believably think, oh, yeah, you know, she's 16. Yeah. No. Like, I know she has not aged a lot. She has a youthful face, but that woman is in her 20s now. Like, it just doesn't hit the same. And so I just say all that to say that Stranger Things may be the worst of it, but TV shows in general, it's offensive for me to have to try and remember every little nuanced thing that's happening in it, things like that. You're also messing up the story. That's why so many people are so mad at George R.R. Martin as avid readers and what has been going on of not getting the end of this Game of Thrones universe that he's been writing forever.
Yeah.
You can't have it go on that long. So that needs to fix. And I agree that this episode count thing also needs to fix. Like, you had a system that honestly wasn't broken. People were like, cool, I expect 13 episodes out of this show. Like, give me another 13. If you really, from a creative standpoint, you're like, it's going to ruin it if we try and stretch it out like that. You're going to get filler episode. Fine.
Yeah.
That is the rare exception that you should do that. But look at all the network TV we've been loving for years where it was like
22 episodes.
26. You're going to get 22 to 26, whatever it is. Be there like clockwork, and those shows are doing just fine depending on which ones you're talking about. I really hope that we can get back to that because I think that we had something special that it just isn't around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we just had to ride through the strikes, I think. And I think with Squid Game Part 2, I don't think they had any idea to do a second season. And so they kind of had to because they backed up the money truck. And so let me go 7 episodes. That way I don't tax myself too much or tell a story that stretches or have too many filler episodes. He just wants to tell a short, succinct story. So that makes sense. But you're always stuck in that middle place because creatives want to be creative and they want to take time to create the shows that they're, especially things like, you're not going to compare Stranger Things to, like, you know, Criminal Minds. Those are two different things. So you can do a 26 episode Criminal Minds. And then, but the 10 episode or 12 episode or 8 episode Stranger Things, it's going to have way more resonance overall with the pop culture than Criminal Minds. So you have more artistic approach to it. So you get caught in that middle. And so you got to figure out what it is. But I think the strikes being out of the way, I think people focusing now on getting production going, getting people working, getting more of these things through, I think that's going to, in the end, help these other seasons come out with bigger orders. So it's a good thing. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing. What do we got here for a story? I think we're talking about, the great Olivia Hussey sadly has passed away at the age of 73. For those of us of a certain age, and I'm looking at y'all know what age I'm talking about. Olivia Hussey was maybe our sexual awakening in English class, watching Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. She was Juliet in that film. But she went on, of course, to do a number of notable roles, certainly in Black Christmas in 1974. She played the mother of Norman Bates in the telemovie Psycho 4, The Beginning, and Audra in the It miniseries a lot of people love from the 90s with Tim Curry and John Ritter. Another notable turn was playing the compassionate Rosalie Otterborn, the daughter of Angela Lansbury's Salome Otterborn, in 1978's Christie adaptation Death on the Nile. She also voiced Talia al Ghul in the Superman animated series and Batman Beyond, along with lending her voice to multiple Star Wars video games. She played a key role in the 1973 remake of The Lost Horizon. And for me, growing up in the 1970s and 80s, her playing Mother Mary in Jesus of Nazareth, one of the greatest miniseries ever. She was incredible in that. And then Last Days of Pompeii and the post-apocalyptic foreign thrillers like Japan's Virus and Australia's Turkey Shoot. And her final appearance was in 2015 in a film called Social Suicide. She was famously agoraphobic. I know this for sure. She was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 2008 and subsequently went through periods of the cancer's remission and return. She was married also 3 times and leaves behind 3 adult children. So, Winston, any thoughts on Olivia Hussey? Any thoughts on her? Do you have any experience with her? Thoughts on her passing?
I mean, the biggest one, I guess, is her Talia al Ghul for me. Just hearing you rattle all that off. I've seen pretty much about 50% of the stuff that you were naming, but that was one that I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that was her voice. Very like you said, as far as Awakening, I mean, she was very sultry, always calling Bruce my beloved and all that. So but it's just we lost a lot of, man, we losing recipes, man. We lost a lot of people this year. We were just talking about that on our Blurs End of the Year thing yesterday, and just how many people were gone, which I don't know if you're still talking to Jay, man. He was so disrespectful when I was like, yeah, man, and we lost Tito Jackson. He's like, Tito Jackson? Ain't nobody care about no Tito. I said, yo, put some respect on Tito's name, bro. Come on.
Tito was playing the guitar.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Olivia, man. That's rough.
I want to throw in a personal one. R.I.P. to Linda Lavin. She passed away this morning. For those of us, again, of a certain age, Linda Lavin, that show, Alice, that sitcom, Alice, that was our jam. You want to see great sitcoms from the 80s and the 70s? Alice was awesome. Linda Lavin was an incredibly fantastic performer. Worked all the way up until 2024. She was in an episode of the new season of Elsbeth. And so certainly working for a long time, but sadly passing away this morning, and just an icon from that time. Female-led sitcoms, which were all over the 70s and 80s. So just incredible actress and performer. And you're right, we're losing a lot of people here on the tail end of 2020.
Man, we lost Jimmy Carter. He was like, I don't need to see 2025. I can get
100 years old. Someone put up a really great meme where they said Jimmy Carter lived through the premiere of all the Nosferatu films. And they went all the way back to 1929 for the original one. I was like, oh,
no, my favorite Jimmy Carter tweet was, man, Jimmy Carter lived to see the rise and fall of Hitler, and more importantly, the rise and fall of Haktula.
Notable. All right, there we go. I think we got Kristian's pushing me to get to the questions. Maybe we should get to the questions, but do we have any other stories I might want to touch on? Oh yeah. Real quick, we should do the Acolyte one. Will you bring that up, Luke? We should definitely talk about Manny Jacinto here. Of course, talk about the Acolyte, but it was also revealed that the series was set up for at least one more season, especially with its ending, which was a mini cliffhanger that saw Manny Jacinto's Chimere and Amanda Stenberg's Osha going off to explore her powers, with Darth Plagueis waiting in the wings. Earlier this month, Jacinto teased at Fan Expo San Francisco that a further season would have explored the Chimere Plagueis connection and more about his character. Now a new quote from that appearance has gone up at Collider this week which confirms that showrunner Leslie Headland had a vision for the series that went beyond a second season. Jacinto says, I remember Leslie's dream was for us to do 3 seasons, not just this one. But there's something about having a finite ending to things that makes it so much more special. So yeah, I don't know if I'd do it or not, but 3 seasons in a movie would have been incredible. And I know we had so much more to explore with that second season. And of course, this follows season 1 being canceled, even though the show's because of the show's high production cost here being a factor. Over $230 million for 8 episodes was a little too high considering the audience it was able to get by the end. So Winston, quickly, your thoughts. 3 seasons was the plan in a movie. Manny Jacinto talking about there being more with Chimere and Plagueis and all of that. Anything surprise you here, and anything worth of note to talk about here?
No, unless something's a limited series. Most people, when they pitch a show, they put a show Bible together, and that includes having plans on what's coming in the future. So no, I'm not surprised by that at all. you just didn't do very well. I haven't seen it still to this day, just because I just didn't want to. The minute the discourse became a thing, I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need. I have enough stress in my life. I don't need the people that are slamming it and the people that are loving it who both are ready to cut each other's throats. Like, I'm like, I don't need that. So y'all have fun. Y'all do all that. I'm gonna stay inside. That's kind of where I'm at this point in life. I'm just like, is that what we're doing? I'm just gonna go ahead and stay inside. Y'all have a good day. I don't need all this.
You like that baby gif walking into the room and going, oh no, and then walking back.
Not even that, because it's not even an oh no. It's more of a it's that black uncle that's just turn around and walk away. Hell no. Like, I don't need that. I really don't.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, I feel bad for Manny, but I mean, Manny came out of this thing looking great. So I think Manny's got a calling card from that series. Whatever, even though it was canceled after one season, Manny came out being one of the actors people are talking about out of that series. And no surprise that Leslie Headland, who is a fantastic showrunner, intelligent woman, very creative woman, she had plans for 3 seasons. Of course, we're talking about second season taking years because creatives need time. We're talking about Matt Reeves needing all this time to write a script. Leslie had a plan for 3 seasons. She came in equipped. She came in ready. And unfortunately, we're not going to see it because maybe she could have improved in the second season. The third season wasn't given that time. But I hope to see more from Leslie down the road as a showrunner in that way. And we'll definitely see more from Manny Jacinto. And, of course, we've got Star Wars on deck. All right, let's move on to the questions here. I think we should get some of these super chat questions going, right? We don't got to throw the rocket money, right, Luke? So just put up a new super. Let's start us off, man. We got 36 right now. We'll see if we get to 50 or 100 by the time it's over. Steve S says, hi, Rocha. What's up, Steve? I miss you and Nost on the top 10. Oh, that's very nice. Any plans to do another podcast with Matt? Do you keep in touch? Love your banter and disagreements at times. Listen, the thing about Matt and I was that we never hung out outside of the podcast. We were never friends outside of the podcast. We didn't go to movies. We didn't go to bars. We didn't go to dinner. We just were really good at doing that show together when we were together. And it was so much fun. One of the most unusual experiences of my lifetime. And it's not because Matt and I had any issues with each other, didn't like each other. It just didn't work out that way. And we felt that the chemistry was so much more fresher after a while when we were coming in to record the shows because we hadn't hung out with each other. We hadn't done all these things with each other. And so it allowed us to be fresher and after a while, we started guessing what the other person's list might look like and finagling our list to make sure our movies remained in the final list. So it was a fun show to do. I do miss doing the show with Matt, but yeah, we don't hang out or communicate, but whenever we do text, Matt recently texted me after a year of us not talking, we just fall back into the rhythm. It's just one of those friendships that occurred that way in the professional friendship as well. But I think some point down the road, it'll be fun to have Matt and maybe do a end of the decade top 10 show or do a live show or something. That could be a lot of fun. So,
how long did top 10 go?
6 or 7 years, I think. I think that's how long it went.
Look, sometimes you have, I wouldn't call it like a great love that isn't like your soulmate. You know what I'm saying? Like that sounded like that was a great love that it just ran its course and you got a lot of good out of it. And it doesn't mean that you guys don't still care about each other or the magic you're able to make together, but that's it. It just ran its course.
Yeah. And look, I pitched a podcast by the end for us to do, and he was like, I don't want to just talk about daily stuff or nerdy stuff. I like top 10 for what it was. And he's got his music composer show that he does, which I think is a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I mean, we both kind of moved on and done our own things, but I'll always love the top 10 and I'll always love what we accomplished top 10. And big shout out to Kristian Harloff and Mark Ellis, who put us together. I mean, like we owe Kristian Harloff and Mark for putting us together. Maybe not as much as they think we owe them, but we certainly owe them for putting us together. All right, let's move on to the next question. What do we got here, Luke? Hank Pym says, spent 2 hours last night watching old schmoes reviews of bad movies. Absolutely hilarious stuff. What are some of y'all's worst of 2024?
I was just compiling my list because I have to do my video. Let me take a look here.
Well, what are your thoughts on the overall idea of worst? Because we see a lot of pearl clutching at the end of every year. The last few years, people go, "Stop doing worst lists. It's terrible for the industry. It's hard to make a movie." What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, okay. It's hard to make and raise a child, and there's a bunch of bad people in the world. What are we talking about? Get the fuck out of here with that. No, let's see. Some of the worst. The Crow, The American Society for Magical Negroes,
That's a shock.
Joker, Folly Ado, Venom: The Last Dance, The Six Triple Eight, Kraven the Hunter, Madame Web. Those are like all of those movies.
Yeah,
in theory, sound like they could have been good, and they just did not come together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, for example, the 688, I actually have to give Tyler Perry a baby bit of credit here, in that it's one of the best looking movies he's done. But I stand by the fact that I just don't like the way he writes dialogue. It's like, it feels like it's written for like a middle schooler, like the dialogue at times. And Kerry Washington's crushing it with her acting, but it took me out of it. Like, and it is what it is. There's a lot of moving pieces that need to happen in order for something to positively work. And those were a number of films that it just did not. But what about you, man?
Yeah, I would have to say The Crow. I agree with that. Madam Web was pretty terrible. I would have to say Kraven. I thought Kraven was absolutely not good at all. The Rebel Moon movies, I thought the first one was okay, but because I reserved judgment until the second one came out, and the second one came out, it was not that good, and I was like, all right, so the first one's not good. Now by connection, I thought Argyle was horrible. Argyle was maybe the worst experience with the most expectation I had this year. I thought Venom wasn't good either. Joker, Folly Ado, I agree with you on that one. And I think there's one I saw that was an artistic film that everyone was crowing about. I can't remember it right now, that I came out of the thing going, I don't get what everyone's talking about. So it wasn't my jam at all. But yeah, I mean, there've been some bad films, but there've been some really damn good films this year. So from
very good movies, there were very good movies. There were a bunch of mid movies, and there were some bad ones.
There were some bad, and there's nothing wrong with having bad ones. I'm so tired of people clutching pearls about this stuff. Because do this: never criticize anything in your life ever that anyone's ever created or made. Then you can say, don't make any more worst films lists. Then
here would be my bigger thing.
Yeah.
I have a problem with people that continuously make bad movies and keep getting checks to make more. That bothers me. I don't care if people have a bad showing, because again, people are always like, why do you always bring sports up? Because they're actually very good as a metaphor for life.
Yeah, I agree.
If a quarterback is on your team and has a bad season, that was a bad season. If a quarterback is on your team and has 4 bad seasons, it's time to move on. You done ran your organization into the ground. They've had plenty of chances to figure it out. Yeah. So that's it. I'm not saying you go right off, say, the director of Madame Web. It was bad. I finally saw it last night, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you immediately throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I'm a little skeptical now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I need to if I see your name pop up, I go, and I gotta hold my breath for half a second. But yeah, people honestly, sometimes the things you do don't hit, and that's okay. Like, I thought Monkey Man was a fantastic movie. I had a little bit of a beef with how much just right here close-ups for all the action, so I couldn't truly enjoy a lot of the choreography, for example. You know what I'm saying? That would be my one critique of Dev Patel on that. It's just I would like you to pull out just a little bit more so I can see more of the awesome choreography you made.
Yeah, that's what she said. I agree with you. I agree with you on that end as well. And I know who you're referencing. You're referencing Eli Roth. How does he keep getting work when he makes such terrible movies?
That's actually not who I was thinking about, but that's a good. I'll give you a cookie. You get 2 more guesses to guess who I specifically was talking about.
Borderlands was horrible. Eli should stop directing. All right, what's the next question we got here? Luke says Hank Pym came in with his follow-up, says his top 5 worst are 5 Borderlands, 4 Tarot. Oh, I didn't even see Tarot. 3 Venom, 2 Rebel Moon 2, and number 1 Argyle. Yes, you agree with me. Argyle was so bad it angered me. I've lost faith in Matt Vaughn. Yeah, I agree.
Lost faith in Matt Vaughn. It was that bad?
I think so. I mean, the last few Kingsman movies have not been that great, and that film was terrible. So maybe Matt should take a break from directing for a bit. Let other people direct and produce. I agree with you, Hank Pym. Argyle just you wasted Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, and Henry Cavill in that movie. And even Dua Lipa wasn't that great in that movie, and John Cena was okay, but it was such a frustrating film overall. All right, let's move on. What's the next one here we got, Luke? Ewok says season 2 of Squid Game is so good. I heard Fincher was doing a U.S. version. Yeah, Jeff broke that on Hot Mic months ago. Do you think it'll be a remake or a continuation of the same story set on U.S. soil with appearances from some of the Korean cast? No, I don't think any of the Korean cast is going to show up. Maybe Lee Jung-jae, maybe, but I would be surprised if they show up. What do you think?
I have a slight problem with this. This was the same conversation that happened when they announced that with Parasite. I'm like, everything needs to have
an American
or whatever version of it. Like that Squid Game as itself is fantastic.
Right.
So then it kind of feels like a weird cash grab / like whitewashing of it. And I don't mean that in like any sort of like political way. I literally mean that in just like the idea of throwing its own paint a coat on it just so you can print more like it doesn't. And sometimes it works fabulously. A lot of people argue that the U.S. office is better than the U.K. office. But you don't need to do that every time. This is already a pretty near perfect TV show for its first 2 seasons. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. And Jeff thinks that Brad Pitt might be the lead of that. So we'll see. All right. What's the next one we got here, Luke? Carlton Rudder. What's up, Carlton? London calling. He says, literally today is in London I'm in London for a West End show. Nice. John, London misses you. I miss London. 2025 trip with the Lady Outlaw. Very possible. Happy New Year to you both. Thank you. Yes, we're going to a wedding in France, in Provence, in June or July. And we're trying to see if we can squeeze in 3 or 4 days in London. So we will see. But Carlton, thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you. I think you guys get the New Year before we do. So Happy New Year. All right, what we got here, Luke? Rocha for the win. I don't know what that's for, but maybe correcting.
Because you're hosting.
Yeah, if you want to call what I'm doing hosting, I'm stumbling around here. Ewok says, if Gunn is
better than anybody I know, you're like a drunken master.
Ewok says, if Gunn, the header, I got it balancing on my foot. So true. If Gunn, as head of the DC, wants Pattinson as Batman, then what's the issue? Is it that he wants to respect what Reeves wants? But clearly those sources, according to Daniel RPK, saying he doesn't, that they don't want Pattinson as the Batman. But I would imagine if they are having those conversations, and you'd be foolish not to, that Reeves and him are having a conversation about how to make his Batman still work in the Reeves universe and work in the Gunn universe without sacrificing what Reeves has created in his universe. And by the way, James Gunn deserves credit for talking this out, because James Gunn would absolutely, if it was another creator, they'd be like, Matt, you work for me. I'm the head, so I'm going to do this. There's nothing you can do about it. But the fact that he may want to work with Reeves on this, I think speaks volumes about the character of James Gunn. It's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. I thought about something real quick about American Squid Game. If they're going to make like a spoof, if we're going like scary movie, if the next scary movie reboot is just Squid Game, but like with essentially like black folk and like Anna Faris, I would rock that so hard, bro. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, bring it up, Luke. Bring it up. What we got next here, man? We gotta go fast with these. Corn Emperor, spill the tequila. That's right. That's our show. When we get to do it on the Outlaw Nation show, Winston and I have a lot of fun talking about things that are much more irreverent than we talked about today. So let's move to the next thing. What do you got? Julius Weiss says, John, your Commanders ruined my Falcons season. The Falcons ruined their Falcons season, but Falcons losing big games is nothing new. Congrats on making the playoffs. Jaden Daniels is the real deal. Yes, he is.
And I actually believe in Penix. It's his second game. Like Jaden did not come out of the gate the first 2 games, but once he hit like game, because he got a concussion game 2, I remember.
Yeah.
But once he hit like game 3 or 4, rolling. And will probably win Rookie of the Year, which between him and Bo Nix.
Yeah, which is incredible. I thought Nix and Penix were 2 of the best NFL ready-made quarterbacks to come out. So their success doesn't surprise me a damn bit. Penix is only going to get better next year. No way.
Oh, you're talking Penix. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no way Kirk Cousins starts next year. And Bo Nix is absolutely going to be leading Denver, hopefully in the playoffs if they beat that Chiefs team. And they should, since they're sitting all their starters.
I hope not, man, because I want the Bengals to make it, and I also want, in my opinion, if Joe Burrow pulls this off, he is the MVP. I'm sorry, I don't care what Lamar did, I don't care what Josh did. Literally, he has the best stats in the entire league, and he willed his team. That's the most Michael Jordan, LeBron James ass. We go into the playoffs, damn it!
Come on, I would put our talent versus Bengals talent, and the Bengals talent is way better than our talent. Jaden Daniels should be the MVP. All right,
Not even remotely close.
We'd have 3 victories without Jaden Daniels.
Bro,
tops.
You actually have a defense. I'm saying that despite the Bengals literally averaging like 35, we need to focus on what we're talking about.
I know.
Stop it. Game time. Get out of here.
Rise is sending support to beat Kristian this week. Thank you very much. To beat Kristian this week. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, keep going, Luke. Get these rapid fire. John Lee says, do either of you guys watch Squid Game season 2? I had low expectations and thought it was pretty good. Looking forward to season 3 in 2025. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So Winston, how many episodes are in? Have you seen it or no?
Oh yeah, I finished. It's fantastic.
Okay.
It's
Quickly,
absolutely fantastic. I'm so mad about that damn cliffhanger because I know, fortunately, it sounds like they're releasing summer or fall of next year, so it's not a crazy wait. But I'm just like, oh my god, why?
Yeah, fair point. All right, let's move on with the next one here. Angel of Doom 66 says, I saw Craven, then I asked myself, why? With the laughter emoji and the poop emoji. Yeah, I agreed. I think a lot of us asked ourselves why after that movie. All right, what else we got here, Luke? Renetta W. Thank you, Renetta, for the kind donation. What's up, fellas? Been a while since I've seen you together. Well, clearly you're not on the Outlaw Nation channel. The Beyonce Bowl was fire. How does she always manage to outdo her last performances? The all-white, the HBCU band, her intention in that performance was clear and honest. Yeah, Winston, a lot. Some people push back on her because she went all white, referencing the Diddy thing.
That is not what that was about.
That's what they said.
I am so mad that people so clearly, none of you actually listened to Cowboy Carter and the exact outfit she was wearing on the. I swear to God, did you see Head of State, Chris Rock and Bernie Mac?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I hear anybody say to my face, "Oh, Beyonce wore all white," I will open hand slap them the way Bernie did when he got off that train, talking about, "Hey, do you want to talk about the motherfuckers?" I don't
never heard of no NATO. I never heard of no NATO.
I ain't never heard of NATO. NATO owe you money. You owe me money.
No. All right, let's move on here, Luke. Also, Luke, why don't you put Zoran the Barbarian in a timeout here? Kaylin J says, I love Pattinson, but I think Alan Ritchson should be the Batman of the DCU. He gives Batfleck vibes. Kaylin, I don't think so, because I don't think he's that strong of an actor to play Batman. I think he could play Batman in the outfit, but I don't think he's a Bruce Wayne. And as much as I love Reacher, I don't
disagree.
You do?
Okay. Yeah, he's. Am I going to sit here and be like he's the greatest actor of all time? No, no. But I think he does. He's shown enough for me in Reacher that he can give the more kind of like serious end of it. And I've seen him in it. I've like in his early stuff. He did a lot of comedy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the like every time we saw oh my God, Christian Bale. Like trying to throw the scent off where he was drunk with the models in the fountain and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Alan can play that douchebag because he started off on a show called Blue Mountain State where he was just this idiot. It was great. So I'm here for it.
Well, maybe he's a better Batman in Brave and the Bold because that's a more of a campier approach. I could see that. I could see.
But even if you're now like a lot of the arguments that Batman has with Damian is like, oh Jesus, I just have a child and you trying to murder everybody. I can totally see him cussing out Damian.
Constantly. I agree, 100%. All right, what's our next one here, Luke? Matt Sanderson McCall. Hey, man, top 10 of 2024 so far: Heretic, We Live in Time, Transformers 1, Dune 2, Oddity, Terrifier 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, Anora, and Substance, and Kill, the Indian film Kill. Nice, good list there. I like a lot of those films that you listed there. Good list of films. All right, let's move on. What do we got? DG said many slept on live action Lobo in the Krypton show.
I just never watched Krypton.
I think many people slept on Krypton show.
That's the problem with having too many fringe networks at times because it was on Sci-Fi, wasn't it? And Sci-Fi, like I haven't had cable in a long time. It eventually moved to CW.
It was on Sci-Fi. You're right. It was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
So it's tough to find for some people. They're not going to go that far out. That's why The Expanse is an anomaly for Sci-Fi. The Expanse was a massive hit, but it was on Sci-Fi. People hunted that show down. All right, let's keep going. What do we got here? Renetta back again. Thank you, Renetta. Also, Kendrick needs to bring it at the Super Bowl. I hope he gets an HBCU band. And for you people who don't know what HBCU mean, it is historically Black college, university band. And guest, I hope he does Freedom with Beyonce and use another artist. Anyway, he needs to add some Louisiana flavor.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I am still hoping, out of all hope, that Kendrick goes and does his thing, but he, reaches out and gets Wayne to come out and do that. I personally don't think that Wayne still has the sauce to do an entire Super Bowl show himself.
Right.
But I think you could bring him out and have him do any of his bangers. I think that would work.
They did that with Missy, right? That with I think Katie was hosting the show that year, and Missy Elliott came out and did a couple of songs.
No, well, I mean, it happens every year where you have the special guest, but like even Usher last year, he brought out Alicia Keys, which that key though, some people. But he brought out Ludacris. He brought out a lot of people. He brought a Lil Jon. He brought a lot of people from Atlanta because that was kind of a tribute to Atlanta in Las Vegas.
Kendrick
I agree. Lil Wayne live is no longer good. He used to be very, very good, but I think you tell him it's the Super Bowl, he can figure it out for a verse of a song. You know what I'm saying? I think that he would be fine.
Kendrick is going to bring out Drake. I know it. All right. What's the next one?
No, he's not. So he can sing A minor about himself.
Yep. Legend. And sometimes you have to lean into it when you lose. Legend MMF 600 says, hell yeah, 200. Happy New Year's Eve to you all. Absolutely. Thank you, Legend. Happy New Year's to you. What else we got here, Luke? Corn Emperor says, I really like Mr. Batman and love the Penguin, but they need to focus on the new DCU.
Oh, Matt Reeves is Batman. I thought that's Mr. Batman too. Mr. Batman. The Riddler's out again.
Mr. Batman.
Mr. Batman go here. That's essentially what, like, when you said that at first, I was like,
yeah, I really like Mr. Matt Reeves' Batman. I love the Penguin, but they need to focus on the Batman. Unfortunately, they should drop. You think they should drop the Matt Reeves universe? No way. It is too financially successful. So you guys got to think. I want to encourage you guys. You got to think like a studio. How does a studio think? Yes, creatively, you could say get rid of Matt Reeves because we got to focus on James Gunn. But financially, it makes zero sense for them to toss a successful element of their IP for just to focus on the mainstream element. It won't, because you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And if James Gunn's Superman comes out and it's middling, you've just sank the basket in the water. So you don't want to do that. So, any thoughts on that?
I think that Mr. Batman should still do what he's doing.
Winston's opinions or Winston's alone. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we got? Corn Emperor. Thank you, Corn. Appreciate that. All right. Logan Misiak says that would be nice if Gunn brings back the previous actors in the DCEU to play other characters in this DC universe. They deserve it. I think that's a great idea. Amanda's coming back. Viola Davis is coming back as Amanda Waller, but actors playing different characters. Winston, what do you think?
What's the question one more time? I'm sorry.
All the actors who played different characters in DC in the previous universe, having them come back as different characters, like Momoa is coming back not as Aquaman but as Lobo in the new DC universe, could be fun.
I mean, when you consider the fact that it's supposed to be an alternate universe, it's fine. It's variants all the time. End up playing kind of different characters or potentially like looking a little different. So if you want to go for it, I don't hate the idea. It's up to them. A lot of them are like, fine, I'm out. I don't want anything else to do with this. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
So if some of them want to come back, let them come back.
Yeah. I mean, Gal Gadot is rumored, constantly being rumored to come back and be a part of the DCU. He said Ben Affleck. He said Cavill could have.
If Gal comes back, then make her like Barda.
Oh, that could be fun.
Yeah,
with Mr. Miracle. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
All right. What's our next one here, Luke? Renato back again. Say more support for you. That last step. Thank you very much, Renato. That last episode of Skeleton Crew was great. Agreed. My favorite thus far. Finally saw a Superman trailer in Dolby, bouncing in my.
It was really cool on a big screen.
Yeah,
it was cool to see that on a big screen. It was really good.
That'd be awesome. As for the Skeleton Crew, we are doing a review of the Geek Buddies. We're dropping our review of the Geek Buddies of Skeleton Crew at 1:00 today. So if you want to see our thoughts on it, you can do it on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, what's the next thing here? We got Luke, Mike Joyce. What's up?
Mustard.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar reference. Nice. Mike Joyce says, any underseen movies from the year you loved? Went in blind to The Order after Jeff said it was great, and it's in my top 5 of the year now. Wow. Yeah, any under the radar movies that you saw here, Winston? It's a good question. I suppose we should have these on deck.
Let's see. Let me look. Oh, Ultraman Rising. Ultraman Rising and Babes. Those are the two. I've actually talked about them a decent amount. Ultraman Rising was purely because I was asked to go do that for Kristian to cover it about a month, 2 months ago.
Right.
And it's fantastic. It is very much slept on, and it sadly was pitted up against Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
With like very little support to kind of like what are you going to do when Disney drops a sequel to a massive hit? And I think Inside Out 2 easily cleared $1 billion. So it's that slept on. And then Babes was like, when we talk about missing like kind of the raunchy comedies, it's two homies, it's two women who are in that stage in life where one's been married, is having her second kid, the other one is about to be a single mom, and them trying to sort out their friendship and what it means to be a parent. And it was all the raunchiness you would love from a movie like that. I can't speak highly enough of that movie. That movie is so funny.
I thought The Outrun with Saoirse Ronan, which now is getting forgotten, I thought that was an excellent film, and I thought her performance was incredible. I think she's great in The Blitz as well, which people can watch on Apple TV. That's also a damn good movie that I thought she was great in. And so people sleeping on Saoirse, which drives me insane. Nothing anyone has done acting-wise in films is better than what she did in the Outrun. So I think she should be nominated for Best Actress, in my opinion. So that's a couple of the films that I thought people kind of looked past. I thought Kill, not a lot of people saw Kill on this side of the coast here in America. So I think that was one that kind of got pushed past as well. So people should go back and check that one out as well. All right, what else we got, Lou?
Mustard.
Okay, thank you. Callum Fenian says, Liverpool have won the Premier. Wolves are staying up. But, bro, we're only 17 games in. We got 21 more games to go. Who knows? The contract situation, please. No one's thinking that until, like, freaking April. Let's go. What's the next one?
I can't say my favorite line off TV off right now.
Okay.
Talking about you Liverpool Wolves, man, is like, I hate blank, hate on blank, and y'all both broke. That's all I have to say. I'm tired of both of y'all.
Broke having the title's nice though. Nate M says, how about them Cowboys? Go Birds, Saquon 2K. Oh.
I mean, look, Saquon about to win me a chip. So I'm fine. Honestly, I'm actually going to be really mad if Saquon doesn't want to do it, then I'll let it go. But I'm going to be really mad if anybody on the Eagles organization does not let him play next week for him to go break that title, because he can do it. When are you going to be in this position potentially again? Like, the odds of you genuinely being close enough to break Dickerson's record are next to none. So let him go for it, man.
Okay. I say the first half. After the first half, you got to sit him. All right. What's the next one here, Luke? Francisco Lopez says, I hope we can get both the Batman 2 in its own universe, and the Brave and the Bold in DCU. I really want to finally see the Bat family in the DCU.
I agree. I want to see the Bat family.
All right. I agree. Let's move on. Thank you. Joe Hendo TV. Jason Momoa for me is a better fit for Lobo than Aquaman, even though I liked him in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a better Lobo naturally.
Yep.
I liked him as Aquaman. He was a fun Aquaman for Zack Snyder's approach, but I think only Zack Snyder could have directed those films to get the best out of him. No offense to James Wan, but those films were terrible. And I thought he could have done a better job if Zack Snyder had been allowed to keep directing him as that role, as that character in Justice League movies. So, yeah. All right, what do we got? What else we got here? Mike Joyce back there. It's game time question. Who should coach the hapless Bears?
Well, I mean, Belichick's gone now, so you're not going to do that. Who's on the chopping block, or who's been out for a while?
I think the dude who is you better go get the offensive coordinator of the Lions. You better go get him. That's the guy you got to go get.
What about Eric Bieniemy? Where he at?
He got fired from UCLA after a year being their offensive coordinator. So,
what about Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll, I think he's too old, but sure, maybe. I think Ben Johnson's going over there.
These are options.
Let's go. Yeah. Oh, what's next here, Luke? Derek Johnson. What's up, Derek? He says, question for James Gunn stands. How does Peacemaker continue when the very reason he was in the hospital in the first episode relates to the first movie he got shot in, where Harley Quinn exists, even if you take out the Justice League cameo? James says he's going to explain it. So, Derek, we have to wait for James to explain everything, I think, at this point, right?
I literally think it's a scenario of someone goes, let me explain. Okay, explain. And then if they explain it well, you go, dope. And if they don't, you go, bullshit.
Yeah.
Did you watch Community?
Yeah, I love Community. Yeah,
dude. One of my favorite episodes is where they're breaking into that dude's office and the janitor comes in. And he goes, "I can explain. Let me explain." And then they just chloroform him because they don't have a way to deal with it. It's kind of like that. So like we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's maybe some multiversal shenanigans. There's also the possibility of just an unreliable narrator. You just need to make sure you do it well.
I think you're 100% right. I think with Peacemaker, because if you watch that first season, he makes up a lot of stuff. You don't know what's truth and what isn't. Do you believe Aquaman is actually having, unadulterated sex with fishes? I mean, you just don't know what with fish, rather. You just don't know what is the truth and what isn't with Peacemaker. So that allows a little bit of leeway to make stuff up. All right, what's next here, man? Derek back again saying, haven't been crazy busy. No, respect, Derek. Thank you for coming in. The financial sector is wild after this election. For the love of God, check all your finances, benefits, and insurance premiums. Stuff is going to be changing. Just a FYI. Oh, man, Derek, thank you for the heads up. I'm just going to put it all in bags and bury it in the backyard.
Kristian, I want all my money in gold. You're still listening to the show. I want all my money in gold, sir.
Give me my money in gold. All right, what do we got next? Mike Joyce says Jim Carrey is amazing in Sonic. Favorite movies of his? Eternal Sunshine.
Eternal Sunshine. The Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh yes.
Both Ace Venturas.
Yes.
Honestly, my favorite of him is not even his movies. It's in Living Color. He was Fireman Bill, bro. Like he was just so good in Living Color.
Tell you something. Yeah, he was great in Living Color. His Vanilla Ice parody. Oh, his Vanilla Ice parody is classic.
That's really good.
But yeah, all those films for sure. And on The Mask, I think he's great in The Mask. And Liar Liar is very sweet. Liar Liar, I like that.
Truman Show, Dumb and Dumber.
Yep,
it's got a lot of bangers, man.
Definitely. All right, what else we got? Derek says people have to stop telling us Gunn's not making decisions. He decided to keep a whole TV show and rework the canon simply because he wanted to. He keeps running into unforced errors on Twitter. Don't say anything. I agree, and I don't know who's telling you Gunn's not making decisions. Gunn is absolutely making all the decisions. Release dates is something else. That's something where the board is telling him you got to stake out a weekend. But creatively, he's making all the decisions. Winston, yeah.
No, I completely agree that he's clearly making plenty of decisions.
Yeah.
I just think he's running into issues. I know look, turn his Twitter off. Shit's getting crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
There you go. All right, what do we got here, Luke? Derek Johnson, have a great show, guys. Sorry, can't stay. No, thank you, Derek, and thanks for the heads up financially. Maybe I'll reach out to you, bro. Get some advice from you on what to do with what little money I have, because I certainly don't want to end up without any of it. So, all right, what's the next thing? Brooklyn, Clay Aiken for Clayface. Yes, no, baby oil. Holy God.
What the Clay Aiken? What? Just because they both got Clay in their name? Hell no. Hell no. I almost honestly would want to maybe see like a Daniel Day-Lewis, and he's like, I know he's retired, but like he plays a failed actor. Which would be really funny. And so now that he's got these powers, he's trying to do it, but I don't know.
Bro, that's a great suggestion. What a way to bring him back in. I think he'd have fun coming back. It's not too serious. I get to play this character. I get to have some fun. That would be awesome, actually. All right, what's our next one? Andrew Dice Clay is Clayface. There you go. Mr. Diehard says, haven't seen Nosferatu yet. Thinking about going tonight. How does it hold up against Eggers' movies? I like them all, but my favorite was The Witch. Yeah, I would say Northman is number one. I think Nosferatu is number two, Witch 3, and then subsequent, and then Lighthouse, and that's my ranking for it for sure. Do you have any rankings?
I'm not really familiar with his game because I haven't seen The Witch, I haven't seen The Lighthouse, I haven't seen The Northman, so I can't answer that.
Okay, all right, let's move on. Blake Gilbert, what's up, Blake? Look at that smile. Look at Blake's smile. My top 10 movies of 2024. Number 10, Civil War. Number 9, Juror. Number 2, good choice, the Clint Eastwood film. Number 8, Alien Romulus. Hell yeah, I like that. 7, Hitman. 6, Anora. 5, Longlegs. 4, Rebel Ridge. Hell yeah. 3, Sonic 3. 2, Nosferatu. And 1, Dune Part 2. Yeah, Dune
I'm picking up what you're putting down there, friend.
Yes.
Clay Aiken for Clayface. Y'all must be out your mother.
Oh. I only have one song from Clay Aiken, and it's the song he sang when he won American Idol, which I thought
He did
was
not win
awesome.
American Idol. He
I know.
lost American
Ruben
Idol.
Studdard.
How
Studdard won? Yeah,
dare you?
He was in second.
I will not allow you to erase fat black men from
Ooh.
history. That's my boy. I'm sorry for 2004, you son of a bitch.
This is the night, I think is the song. All right, let's move on. What's the next one here? Thank you, Luke. Brooklyn, Rocha, any news to the rumor in Agatha season 2 the character Wiccan will be traveling to Uranus? Hello. No, I don't think
getting
there's
crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
Guess what?
Crazy.
Guess what? If he was traveling to my anus, ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Brooklyn. All right, let's move on. Next one. Dancing Dog 60 says film purists act like every damn movie in the 70s and 80s was great. No, there was a ton of
William.
no. There was a ton of dog shit movies back then too. Sorry, Tarantino. No, I think they act like all the great movies were really great in the 1970s. There are some bad movies in every decade, a lot of bad movies in every decade. So, but I think the greatest decade of cinema was the 70s because a lot of the films you see now were influenced by the filmmakers who made them back in the 1970s. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's like anything else. Like,
Yeah.
you might have the occasional like band or song that like pops up and you go, "Oh, it was a great." You go, "No, they weren't. They had one song, they had one run." But the ones that get talked about like that have a tendency to be the ones that actually did stand the test of time and were at the top of their game.
Yeah.
So, like, when you think about the 90s, we don't sit here and talk about every 90s TV show and every 90s movie was great. We say like the same 10. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I guess The Wire was technically the 2000s, but I don't think that Seinfeld is, but people go like Seinfeld, Friends, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, it's just naming sitcoms in the night. You know what I'm saying? But there are plenty of sitcoms in the 90s that even if they got 2 or 3 seasons, that were dog shit.
Yeah. That's a great point. Let's move on. Yeah, that Saved by the Bell reboot in college, that was horrible. Yeah, the
it was not
Clueless one was terrible as well. So yeah, let's move on. All right, what's the next one here, buddy? Corn Emperor says the Drunken Master and the Swaggy Blurred. Yes, sir. Balancing the
where is the Mr. Batman? I'm going to beat his ace.
Dancing Dog 60 also comes back, says, gentlemen, if Enter the Dragon were ever remade, blasphemy. Who the hell could ever step into Bruce Lee and Jim Kelly's shoes? Tough casting. Well, yeah, I think it would be really tough to do because that was born out of the fact that they were actual martial arts masters, Jim Kelly and Bruce Lee. So I don't see many martial arts masters getting into acting, Winston.
Look, he's a little older now, but Michael Jai White, I think, could pull off Jim Kelly. He's a fantastic martial artist. He's a good actor.
Yes.
As far as who takes on Bruce Lee's role, I honestly do not know.
Yeah,
I do not know the answer to that.
And you can't say Jackie Chan. He's way too old to play the young
Bruce Lee. At this point, he is.
The Dragon. Yeah.
And so is Jet Li. Jet Li is also too old. I'm sure that there is a major martial artist star out there somewhere right now, but I don't know enough at this point to make a decision on that.
Maybe the kid who's playing the lead in the new Karate Kid Legends film, once he gets a little older, that could be an interesting thing for him to explore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, what we got next? Chris Griner says, trust Winston on the multi-blown seasons. He's a Cowboys fan after all. Oof.
Well, look, man. We've been blowing it and blowing it and since the 90s out here looking like Nancy Reagan or Monica Lewinsky.
Oh my God. All right, move on next. Yo, Magic, how do y'all feel about Nolan's Odyssey? Yeah, I like the idea of it. What do you think about this, Winston? You like it?
Yeah. No. I'm here for it. I'm just surprised that so many people were like, "What's the Odyssey?" And I'm like, "Are you for real?" Like, what a lot of lore is based off.
Leon Lett? Who is that? Is that Leon Lett? I wonder. Leon, let's do a film on Leon's Odyssey. Let's do Christopher Nolan doing Leon Lett's Odyssey. All right. Corn Emperor says, surprise. Kristian wasn't here and there were no audio issues. No, we're doing it also over Streamlab or StreamYard. So that's easier than the OBS stuff. OBS is finicky as hell. Although Luke would probably disagree. All right. Frank D. Tank says, would Roman Reigns from WWE make a good Batman for the Brave and the Bold movie? No.
As Batman? No. You also need to prove to me that you can actually act. Roman has only been in like a handful of movies, I think.
Not even a handful. Yeah.
It's been like 2, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. there is something there a little bit.
Yes.
Did you notice how Dave and Cena both needed time to fully develop that skill set instead of just kind of the improv action star acting? They had to go and really get their chops. Hell no, you can't put something that heavy and that important. If you want to make him one of the villains, maybe, but you cannot put an entire franchise on Roman Reigns right now when he hasn't proven that he can act like that.
Don't put that on Roman. Don't you put that on Roman Reigns. All right,
what's our next? Mr. Batman?
Chris here says Beyonce is terrible and is the farthest thing from country. The Billboard Awards are a joke. Chris, yeah, that's what I think you look like, Chris, for making a comment like that. What utter nonsense. Beyonce's from Houston, bro. Who are you? Where are you from, bro? To talk about who is from who is country, who isn't country. And remember, country was swinging all over Keith Urban's D, and he's from Australia.
He's Australian, bro.
Please give me a damn Australian
break. It's fine. Like, people, that's the thing. People are allowed to have opinions,
I guess,
even if they're horrifically wrong. We're allowed to sit there and think the earth is flat, and I'm gonna judge you, but I'm not gonna tell you can't think it.
Yeah. Julius White says, John, will we get a best of the year video from you? Yes, at some point. I've had one day off. You all got to lay around for Christmas. I had one day off. It's been frustrating. I want to take a day, but yes, I will work on it. Thank you very much for wanting it from me. All right. Ethan, I know. I think Kristian's is coming up soon, so look for that on this channel for sure. Ethan Barron Sitzkrieglein Harris. I hope I said that right. Got my first ever comics for Christmas. What should I read first? Batman Year One, Civil War, Killing Joke, Watchmen, or All-Star Superman? Jesus, those are some great choices. Can you leave that up there, Luke, so we can look at them real quick? What are your thoughts here, Winston? Which one would you start with?
Batman Year One, Civil War, Killing Joke, Watchmen, or All-Star Superman? Holy crap. If you're going in blind about not knowing any of these, I would say go Watchmen. If you kind of know enough about each of these stories, then I would say Civil War, All-Star Superman.
I think you're right. I think, let me amend that. And Winston's right in his way. I think you start with Watchmen 100% so you understand why people love comic books. But I think you can go Batman Year One, Killing Joke, All-Star Superman, stay DC, so you're like in that world, and then maybe end with Civil War, since that's all Marvel. So I think that's maybe the way you want to go. So, all right, what's next? Corn Emperor says, I love Community. Can't wait for the movie. Just rewatched the Christmas episodes last week. Oh, yeah, I forgot to watch those episodes.
Boopty, 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 boop.
Pork chop sandwiches. My God, did that smell good? Hello.
God, did that smell good?
Armada says, watch my old ass last night. Amazing. Yeah, the Aubrey Plaza film. A lot of people love that movie. It's like sneaking onto people's best of. Ethan also says, if you could cast any actress in the MCU, who would you cast? Yeah, Winston, you got to
hasn't been in it at this point.
Yeah. I'm like trying to find a British actor for Harry Potter. Who hasn't been in Harry Potter?
I'm not sure. Me. I cast me. There, we did it.
I cast Mike Kalinowski as one of the universe's Captain Americas, so you could finally live out his dream of being a hero on screen. So, all right, what's next? Jenny Lynn Lawson says, enjoying the show, Rocha and Winston. Passes the time till my brother gets to my work to jumpstart my car. Oh, sorry, Jenny. That sucks. I've been there. You ever jumpstart your car, Winston?
Yeah, a couple times.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's next thing. Ethan Barron Sitzkrieg Harris says, Winston, you got to check out Northman. It's so good. Winston, it's a revenge film, Winston. Yeah.
A revenge film. I love a revenge film.
Yeah, Peter Sarsgaard and Anya Taylor-Joy. It's really Brooklyn says, hope this new year is blessed one for you both. Oh, thanks for not talking about my anus on that one. Thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate it. Happy New Year to you, too. Jorge Iniesta says, Drake as Clayface. He has the fake accents on lock.
Oh, no.
Oh man, that's good. That is good. Look, it's not like he doesn't have experience acting. Armada says maybe Lakeith Stanfield for Clayface. Ooh.
Actually, that would be a great casting. I think Lakeith would kill that.
I like that, Winston.
Yeah, I like that casting.
All right, Ethan back again saying, who would be y'all's pick for the DCU's new Batman?
Jensen Ackles.
I don't think I've seen him yet. I don't think I've
You
seen
know
who should be
Jensen
Batman.
Ackles?
No, I know Jensen Ackles, but I don't know if I've seen who should be Batman yet. I don't know. I have to think about it a little bit longer. All right. Kristian, I like what's his face from Outlander and from was that film with Kenneth Branagh he directed? I forget the actor's name. He's Scottish or Irish. I forget. Chris Granier says that crap on Christmas was not country. That was pop bite.
What, because of the performance that she put out there? I mean, that's fine. Plenty of artists do all sorts of things, whether it be genre in movies or TV or music.
Yeah,
that's still the music itself is, but maybe the performance is a little different. I mean, you're allowed to have your opinion.
Yes,
I do not think it is right, but you know,
People
I'm not gonna bite you because you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you send in money. What you want? You want cookie?
He said, bite me from PA, which is Pennsylvania. And there ain't nothing less country.
As a Texan, I'm going to tell you, there's something a little bit more country than Pennsylvania, and it's motherfucking Texas. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. Another country. Armada said Snoop Missionary album was decent. Oh, Snoop's still making music? All right, cool.
Yeah, Missionary was fine. It wasn't great. I finally listened to it. It was fine. There's a lot of sampling I didn't really like.
Corn Emperor says Michael Jai White remaking a series, The Last Dragon, a good or terrible idea? I think he's too old. Last Dragon was like in his early 20s. The guy who played him in the 1980s movie. Come on, he's too old, don't you think?
I like it.
Luke TG1 TTV, thanks for the super sticker, man. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. What else have we got here? And Corn with $1 rolling in. Thank you, Corn. We're at 65 right now. Armada says Jerry Jones.
Let's at least get to 69. That'd be fun.
Hey, Armada says Jerry Jones is Two-Face. Oh, absolutely.
He already is. He literally 1 minute he's on board, and the next minute he's saying the complete opposite. Yeah, he already is, man.
Dancing Dog 60 says Joss Whedon first wanted Saoirse Ronan as Wanda, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
Could have seen that.
That's actually a very interesting pick. I mean,
okay.
I wouldn't change Elizabeth Olsen at this point. Like, she crushed it too much, but
yeah. Well, I think now I changed my mind. Saoirse Ronan should be in the Marvel universe. I'm 100% down with that. I want to see her in the Marvel universe. All right. Jay Mobile says, I love the Mr. Not Mr. Batman uni, but I feel like the more fanfare it gets, a separate Batman uni could be hurt from the expectations as comparisons. I agree. If James Gunn comes out with a Batman and Matt Reeves' Batman is better than James Gunn's Batman, and James Gunn is the head of the universe, that's an issue, Winston. That becomes an ego issue, a creative issue, a comparison issue. And I don't care how great your friendship is. Once you start getting compared in deficit and you're the higher ranked person, it will affect you. You know?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. So yeah,
okay.
Well, that's but I at the same time, you cannot kneecap yourself with something that is this successful. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You need to let it finish.
I agree. All right, what do we got? Brian Yetman says, this is evil John Madden. Wow. Oh no, DEI has finally gotten Kristian kicked off his own show.
And H-1B visas, baby.
That's 2025. So we ain't done. Armada says, glad to see Shabuzi at the halftime show as well. Yeah, that was great to see. Yeah, exactly. Ethan says, any video game series y'all think needs The Last of Us treatment?
I mean, I would have said Halo if they didn't completely destroy it.
Yeah.
They just ruined that. Off the top of my head, I could actually see a Dead Space. I think that could be really well done. I think that would go pretty well, honestly.
Yeah. I like a God of War. You could play around with that. I think you definitely have to do a new Assassin's Creed. I mean, like, that movie was terrible. I think you could do a series of Assassin's Creed. That could be really interesting, going into the different versions of the game, different time periods that game exists in. That could be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Oh my God, can you imagine?
How, Sway?
That's a Prime Video. I mean, Invincible type of thing. Boys think I could see it.
Yeah.
Jorge Nestor says most old school artists this year did good. Besides Ice Cube, Dog Pound album was very good. Oh, okay, respect. All right, what else we got here? Nora for the 69 questions. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Is that? Oh, we got one more. Chris Grenier says Pennsylvania translates to Penn's Woods. It's not just Philly or Pittsburgh. 85% of the state is country. Okay, sure, guy. I'm
That's
from
fine.
Philadelphia.
I'll say this much. I appreciate you sending stuff in. I'm kind of bored
Yeah.
with the topic now. So at that, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for enlightening me. I'm going to move on to the next question.
There we go. Jay Mobile says, but I do want another Batman as Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is weird to me. Can't imagine Pat's how we imagine Bruce or him turning into that. Oh, okay.
But I'd want to do another Batman as Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is weird. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I get that.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Well, there you go. That's all the questions. 71 questions. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. It's a good start for the week. And thanks to everybody who, put up with me hosting while Kristian was out. He had a personal issue he had to attend to. But Winston, thank you very much for being able to come on and adjusting your schedule to hang out. Please let people know where they can find you and everything about your channel and your show.
Absolutely. You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred on all the platforms, especially here on YouTube. Like I was mentioning, I'm doing my best of and worst of the year as we speak. The main thing for those who have been following me as far as why the content kind of slowed to a creep in the last week or so. My computer is all but crapped out at this point. This is about the only thing that's been able to work is StreamYard right now. So I'm trying to get that sorted out where I can film it almost analog and then do that so you can still get that stuff. My new computer will be here soon. And then I've got a really nice slate and schedule going forward with the channel in 2025. So if you want to come check out the Blurred Breakdown where I cover stuff like Diddy or Didn't He? So you're staying up to date on all of the craziness that's going on with Diddy's case and stuff like that. I've got some comedy stuff on there as well and lots of other great things popping up in 2025. So come say what's up.
And where is Blurs in the Hood live? Where's that at? Is that on your channel?
That was over on the Blurs in the Hood channel. We really only do that now once in a blue moon, and we felt like an end of the year thing was good. But if you want to go watch the replay on that, it is both twitch.tv/Blurs-in-the-Hood and youtube.com/Blurs-in-the-Hood.
There you go. Catch up with Jay and Winston. Thank you, Winston. Much love to you, brother. Happy New Year, my friend. I won't see you, so Happy New Year for tomorrow. Hope you have a good time, and
you too.
You and your lady have a great Happy New Year, brother. So thanks so much for hanging out. As for me, you can follow me at the Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Where in a couple days I'm gonna have to take down my Santas, which breaks my heart because I love my Santas being a part of my life. Much love to Luke who helped us do this show today, big time. So Luke, thank you so much, and of course. Thank you to Kristian Harloff for allowing me to host today. And I hope everything is on the up and up there for you, brother. And look for more content here from the Kristian Harloff channel and the Kristian Harloff show coming up here in the next few days, all week this week on the channel. Until then, take care of yourselves, be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new Monday Live episode of the Kristian Harloff show here on the channel. Take care.